Ah, yes, the breeze is wafting along, the birds are chirping. We're here in somebody's backyard. We're out in Norway today, and this most famous mountain range in the background is going to be our backdrop setting for our scenery today. So we'll just go ahead and mosey on about and check out the scenery, and most importantly, check out this new, at least at the time of this video launch, aircraft DLC. It's cheaper than the first offering from Parallel 42, the developers, and it is what's known as the Fox2 base. So this is an aircraft that's a kit-built plane, experimental type. It's based on the Series 5 kit Fox, and this variant has the 915 STI motor with 141 horsepower. So we're not going to be setting any speed records, but the purpose of this aircraft is to fly low and at a moderate pace so that we can look out the window and see the sights and enjoy where we are and the day at hand. Scenery just got done raining here. It should set for quite a nice atmospheric condition. And we'll just put this plane through its paces, maybe do some touch and goes, talk about it in general, talk about the scenery, and for the most part try to have an entertaining video that you can sit back, relax, and enjoy while you watch. Let's go ahead and hop on board, get this aircraft fired up, and we'll head out to the field here just behind this house. Alright, and just like that, welcome on board. I'll go ahead and give a slow left panning camera angle here so that you can see what's going on with the interior. I've left the doors open. We're not going to fly that way because they produce a lot of noise, but I have read multiple places you can fly the Kit Fox with the doors open, or even removed for that matter. It reminds me a lot of the Milviz PC6 Porter. You can do such neat things with the sound effects, of course. They get changed quite a bit. So we have our Garmin instrument suite here. We've also got just a throttle to worry about today. There's no mixture controls for the fuel. There's also no propeller pitch control that we have to worry about. So a very easy aircraft to fly, lots of fun, very short takeoff, very short landing. And it's great because it gives us the ability to look out of the window and enjoy the day and enjoy the flight simulator in all of its glory. So now that I've finished panning around, how's about I recenter up and we'll get this flight on the road here, as it were. Alright, so to do that, what we're going to do is just turn the master on, the avionics. Of course, we'll always want those two things. I'm going to turn on my lane A and lane B, which I'm not exactly sure what they stand for, but it makes the airplane work. So for now, that's all I'm mostly concerned about. I'm going to go ahead and make the starter circuit here activated. I'll turn on the fuel pump A and B, and let's push in the throttle a little bit. Get some fuel, hopefully primed. Let's turn on the navs as they were, the strobes as they were. I'm going to go ahead and turn on our landing lights for a little bit of extra recognition there in case anybody's around, although you can see the scenery. Nobody's going to be bothering us today up here in Norway. And I'm going to go for a start. So let me turn the fuel knob on and then get this moving. There you go. You'll probably notice a different sound on the rotax engine, but that's one of the things about it that makes it unique. I do like the noises this aircraft produces just for the fact that it has a different type of engine in it than I'm used to. Throw the fuel pumps off. I'll go ahead at this point and throw in a notch of flaps there, and I'm going to remove the parking brake. Let's roll down this hill and get the show on the road. Quite a bumpy field out here, but that's just in this area. We'll get out towards this left-hand turn here. You can see quite the backdrop for scenery off the nose there. And as I said, feel free to check in the description some of the information I throw out in hopefully some sort of Wikipedia content. It'll give just a little bit of a descriptor on what those mountains are all about in real life. And there's that unique sound you can hear. You can even see on this aircraft there's no magneto checking or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's a feature of the rotax engine and the way that it's mechanically designed, but one less thing we have to worry about. So this is clearly an uncontrolled field. I will go ahead and call out my intentions on taking off on a general channel. So we're in 7,000 altimeter reporting mode on the transponder. I'm going to go ahead and turn our fuel pumps on. And then I'm going to run this engine up, and you'll see really quickly on our Garmin heads up there with the instruments just how small of a flight window this aircraft has between flap range and maximum speed. It's quite the unique aircraft. You can already see the doors flapping in the propeller wind from the thrust, so we'll go ahead and close those. It'll modify the sound a little bit as expected, but that should make the narration of this video a little bit easier and hopefully better to understand without too much wind noise. So let's go ahead and take off here. It's not going to take very long. You see that right away. And just like that, we're already off and through 60 knots. And as I was saying, if you're looking at our airspeed indicator, we're pulling through just about 70 knots there, and you can already see the yellow band and then the white band at 60 knots for the flaps that we have that we can utilize. So it's not a speed machine or, you know, cross-country record breaker for times, but that's obviously not the benefit of this aircraft. Our main goal today is to head out over these mountains, see what we see and hear what we hear. Of course, this aircraft I notice has elevator trim control, but I'm not noticing any control on the flight surfaces for left and right, so just something to keep in mind. One of the neat features about this plane that I'm finding is its ability to climb even with only 141 horsepower. It seems to be capable of climbing at a more than sufficient rate. The scenery out there is undeniable. And I do believe that these peaks are known in the real world as the quote-unquote Seven Sisters. They are a real place, obviously, in Norway. We're flying with photogrammetry on today. I'm going to go ahead and scoot right through this gap up here. Now, there are versions of this aircraft that do make more horsepower than the model we have today. I believe you can get 240 plus horsepower if you buy the more expensive parallel 42 version of this aircraft. So that's just something to keep in mind. This reduced cost version that I picked up, as I already said multiple times, we're flying with 141 horse, but there's a slow flight model that has about 100 horsepower. So if you enjoy the scenery and you just want to be a bush pilot and you kind of want to roam in and out of small landing spaces, that might even be a better option than this one. I've got to say, without there being a fuel mixture control, I really like not having to worry about setting parameters for engine fuel flow. We don't have to worry about exhaust gas temperatures or overheating the cylinders or damaging the engine. It's really nice to just push the throttle to the firewall and go see the sights. I think it's arguably said, or can be said, that Norway has quite the vast view. and getting in this airplane and taking it up to experience that, I can't think of a better aircraft to actually get this done with. As always though, I have to thank you out there for watching this video, and hopefully consider subscribing and supporting the channel. As I said, I just recently changed my name to AOK Games. I felt it was a little bit more unique than what I had, because what I had full on kind of was done a little bit too much, and went with something a little bit more unique. So hopefully you find that to be an improvement. And I constantly strive to bring entertainment to this platform here on PC for the viewers out there, of course. I've said in multiple other videos, excuse me, these are views on views on views out here. You can just kind of look off into the horizon and sort of forget about reality for a little while we're here in the simulator. There is an airport right there at about 8, 9 o'clock position, I suppose. And that is a real world airport. But we're not going to be landing on the concrete because we don't want to tear up these tires. It does mention, you know, in the description, with these Tundra tires, staying off of the concrete would be a good idea. Apparently they're extremely expensive tires if you have to replace one or both, so we're going to heed that warning and just use our grass field today. And again, I feel like I'm flying probably at about 80-85% power, and I'm getting relatively nice airspeeds. The other nice feature about this Kit Fox here is that it has autopilot, so I'll go ahead and just boop, click the button and turn that on. It'll hold altitude and hold level. As you can see, there's plenty of function on it for flying straight using the flight director. You've got a nav bug there, you've got a heading bug, vertical speed, VNAV. It's all there, more than enough. So I'm not sure where the 7th peak is, but 1, 2, 3, maybe that counts as 4, 5, 6, and 7, but that's how you get the quote-unquote 7 sisters for that mountain range. And if we look down towards the ground there, see where we originated from. Fantastic. I'm going to try to pull in. We'll come over this water here. I'll make a left-hand turn, and then we'll basically pull in opposite the direction that we landed. Now, this aircraft does not have an enormous fuel supply, but I would imagine it probably is very economical and sips on the fuel. One interesting thing to note about the rotax engines, as I mentioned in my Rara Avis tiny little airplane video there on the channel a little while ago, the RPM range for these engines, these rotaxes, is fairly high compared to a conventional horizontal flat opposed piston engine. And I suspect that high RPM is probably one of the contributing factors to the different noises you hear in the cabin here. Let's go ahead actually and head to the outside and listen to the engine and such out there. not bad sounding or looking at all. You mix the kit Fox2 base from Parallel 42 with this type of scenery, can't go wrong with this combination, that is for sure. Let's go ahead and make that left-hand turn towards final approach into our field, and I will demonstrate just how easy it is to land this tail dragger. Of course, we're flying on our Garmin avionics suite there within the green range, approaching the flat white arc there, which is nice because we don't have too much deceleration to worry about. Now I'll go ahead and before we land, I'll give a flyby over the field to make sure that there's no deer or any other obstacles in our way. I'll make a quick left-hand turn. We'll fly downwind, turn to left base, turn to left final, capture that landing, and call it a day. And hopefully this will be a shorter showcase video, won't go on too long. It should cover just the basics and give you all you need to know when it comes to the Fox2 base. Norway, which I think in scenery terms speaks for itself. And just off our nose there is where we're looking to go. So as I said, I'm going to scan this little grass field up here where plan our approach to land at, make sure it's clear, and then we'll go ahead and give it the best effort to get on the ground. Should be pretty easy, as I mentioned. Alright, I'm going to activate the autopilot so that I can casually look out the window here. And yes, indeed, that is our field. You can see the house that we started the video on. Nice little stream down there, and some neighbors. And a little bridge to boot. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and remove the autopilot. I'll turn that left hand here towards our downwind. And I've gone ahead and left the landing lights on for the entire flight, so we don't have to worry about that. Strobes, nav's already on. And I will say this aircraft is very maneuverable, so don't have to worry about not being able to control the flight surfaces. Everything's a-okay with this machine. We've gone ahead and left the fuel pumps A and B on for the entire flight. That's just fine. We weren't long enough in the sky to worry about hopefully burning them out. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the power back and turn that left base. Just like that, 60 knots, throw in some flaps. What I like about this aircraft is you don't really have to do too much messing around with the elevator trim. And bringing her back to idle just brings the speed down quite rapidly. That's always nice. And there we are. Little wide to the right of final. That's okay. Just going to focus on maintaining our speeds, and we've got this entire field to approach through, so should be more than enough room. right through the gap. And there's those tires coming into play. And since we're on the tail dragger, we're always remembering to pull back on the elevator after we touch down so that we don't nosedive. And just like that, we are back at our place of origin. I'm going to go ahead and get some fresh air in here while I'm at it. May as well turn our standby fuel pumps off, remove the landing lights, and finish up our taxi back to home base here. These big wheels, this aircraft definitely has a tendency to roll quite quickly, so I always want to monitor the taxiing speed because it can get a little out of control. Go ahead and pull my flaps all up here and stow them. Alright, let's throw on that parking brake. We'll go ahead and finish out with removing the strobes, remove the nav lights. I'm going to go ahead and turn the fuel cutoff to the off position. And we'll turn off our lane B, our lane A, our avionics, and our master. And we are back safe and sound on the ground here in Norway with the Kit Fox base 141 horsepower edition. And that'll conclude the video. Hopefully nice and short. I think you like it. I know I like this aircraft. Scenery did quite well. Aircraft did quite well. And I highly would recommend this product. Thanks for joining me today. If you could, throw a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate your time. And until the next video, have a great day. Bye-bye.